Hello guys, in this video I'm going to be breaking down the CPI news and I'm going to be telling you the direction in which the market will go on the news release tomorrow at 15:30. So for us to know the direction on which the news release will take, we'll have to look at the previous fundamental or the previous news releases. So let's go straight ahead to my back camera, so that I can show you my laptop screen and we can move on from there. So for us to understand what will happen on the news release tomorrow, the CPI news, we have to look at previous fundamental news releases. Okay, so first of all, let me just scroll up and see what's been going on, and I'll have to move to the previous month. This is the month of August, but I'll have to move to the date when immediately after the previous CPI was released. Okay, so here was the previous CPI released on the 10th of August, but let me just move to the next. Let's start with the okay. Let's start with the next day, which is on 15th of August, and start doing our analysis from there. So we have, sorry. So CPI, what is CPI? CPI is CPI measures the change in price of goods and services from our perspective of customers, and it is one of the major ways to measure inflation. Okay, so it excludes the food and the energy sector. So here, let's look at the previous release uh, on the US dollar. Okay, so this is let's look at the core retail sales. It came out supporting the US dollar. uh, Manufacturing index, we don't look at that. Let's look at retail sales. It came positive, supporting the US dollar from 0.4 forecast to 0.7. Okay, so let's move on. Unemployment claim, it's very key because when a lot of people are employed, which means that they are gonna be spending less money and less money. Okay, so here we see that the unemployment change remained the same. Okay, so relatively the same, but we it was a positive one because a decrease in an unemployment change is positive for the US dollar, but it was a very little. Uh, it wasn't that of high impact, but again it came out supporting the US dollar. Let's scroll down and see what's happening. Okay, we are not looking at the manufacturing because it's the CPI doesn't include the energy sector or the manufacturing sector. So let's look at the flash PMI. It came out negative, which was actually bad for the US dollar. As you can see, it was the previous was 52.3 and the present was 51.0. Unemployment claims came out supporting the US dollar, which the previous was 240k and this one was 230k. Okay, so my camera keeps on shutting down, but it's okay. Let's move down to okay, here this is where things start getting a little bit hotter. Okay, so this is the consumer confidence. Okay, so those who don't know the consumer confidence is the level of composite index based on surveyed households. Okay, so this one came out negative for the US dollar. Okay, let's scroll and see what else came out. Job openings came out negative for the US dollar, which means that there were less opportunities or there were less openings for jobs in the market. Okay, so people who don't have jobs don't have much money to spend. Okay, which means their perspective of things or products and services is that the cost of the products and services are very high, so they don't have uh, that amount, a large amount of money to spend, okay, which is negative for the US dollar. ADP non-farm employment change came out negative for the US dollar. The ADP non-farm employment change is the employment change in the private sector, okay. So in a state or in the US, we have the government as the employer and we also have the private sector. So what this means is that those people who lost their jobs, okay, increased increased. There were a large number of people losing their jobs. So this one became negative for the US dollar, okay. Let's scroll down a little bit and see what's next here. We have the core PCE index, which remained constant. Okay, so if it's constant, we'll just leave it like that. And it's a change in price of goods and services purchased by customers. Okay, let's look at unemployment claims. Unemployment claims came out less, which means that it was positive for the US dollar. Now, average hourly earning came out negative, which also was negative for the US dollar. Okay, so if the average earnings, the amount of money that people are earning on every hour is negative, which means that people won't have a lot of money to spend on goods and services. They'll be trying to save a lot of money. They'll be trying to avoid unnecessary expenditure. Okay, which means that will be negative for the US dollar. Okay, let's look at the non-farm employment change. This is where things get a little bit hotter. So we can see that we have an increase which was relatively good for the US dollar. But what happened is that those who saw my analysis on the NFP, what I said is that the NFP, I traded gold majorly. The NFP will be bullish for gold and will be bearish for USD or USDX. Even though the news release was positive, but it, the impact that it had on forex exchange was negative. Okay, it was negative, but the the reading here came out positive. Why? Because we had the ADP unemployment change coming out as negative. Okay, the ADP is the key indicator for the NFP. So even though it is indicated as positive here, it had a negative impact on the market. Okay, those who know. Okay, let's see another major news we can confirm. Unemployment rate went high, which means that was negative for the US dollar. Okay, I think that's all. We are now in September. We were only looking for the news release on August. So, what is my perspective, or what do I see? What is my thoughts on the news release for the CPI? What I can say is that the CPI, according to me, the CPI on the US dollar will be bearish, and on gold and silver we are going to be bullish on the news release. Why? Because let's look at these major things. First of all, last month, when what is this? What was it? This month or was it last month? The ADP employment change came out as positive. Okay, as negative. Sorry, the NFP release came out as positive, but it had negative impact on the market. And then we had an increase in unemployment rates, which means that was bad for the US dollar. Okay, so if many people are unemployed in the private sector, and if we have much unemployment claims, we have less job openings, which means that the consumers don't have uh, the perspective that products and services are cheap. Okay, which means the products and services are expensive. So that's going to have a negative impact on the US dollar, and it's going to be having a positive impact on gold and silver. Okay, so if you have any question, remember this is not a financial advice, this is just my analysis, the way you can do your own analysis. The best way to be trading news is always to be using the pending orders. Okay, so that is my analysis on the CPI. You guys, you can go and use the pending orders, but according to me, that's I'm just gonna be going in full margin, as you know me, guys. So don't blow your accounts because I said the US dollar is gonna be negative, the and gold is gonna be bearish. I mean bullish. Okay, so that's my analysis on the CPI, guys. So if you have any question, please make sure to leave them down in the comment section, and please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you like the content that I'm putting out. Thank you, guys. Let's wait and trade tomorrow. And if you want to trade live with me, guys, if you want to trade live, I'll be leaving a link of my Telegram channel, of my WhatsApp number, and we are gonna be trading live. It's free, guys. So thank you guys for staying up to this point. Please make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any question, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good night.